I never thought I would be the kind of woman who checks her fiancé's phone. That was for insecure girls, for the jealous type, for women who didn't have trust. And I had trust. I had so much trust in Liam that I would have handed him my entire world and never asked for a receipt. We met in a coffee shop in Austin 3 years ago. He was wearing a well-worn flannel, and he ordered a black coffee, no sugar. I was studying for my real estate exam, and I had highlighters spread across a tiny table, like a rainbow threw up. He asked if he could sit across from me, because every other seat was taken. I said yes, and that was it. That was the beginning of the end. We moved in together last spring, a small 2-bedroom apartment off South Lamar. Nothing fancy. He had his guitars on the wall, I had my plants on every windowsill. We talked about rings for months. He showed me pictures of settings and stones. I told him I wanted something simple, a round cut, white gold. Nothing too big because I have small hands. He said he loved my small hands. He said he wanted to see a ring on one of them before the year ended. I thought I was the luckiest woman in Texas. My name is Grace. In my whole life, I have been second place. Not to another woman, not to a career, to my own twin sister. Haley came out first, 3 minutes older, and those 3 minutes defined everything. My mom never hid it. She never tried. Growing up in our house in the suburbs of Dallas, she made it clear that Haley was special. Haley got the better bedroom with the bigger closet. Haley got the new car when we turned 16. Haley got the tuition paid for at a private university, while I took out loans for community college. My dad tried to balance things, but he traveled for work constantly. He sold industrial equipment. He was gone 3 weeks out of every month. So it was just me and my mom and Haley, and I was the ghost in that house. I remember one Christmas we were 14. I had saved my babysitting money for months to buy my mom a locket with both of our birthstones inside. Haley forgot to get her anything. My mom opened my gift, said, "Oh, that's nice," and set it aside. Then she turned to Haley and said, "Don't worry, baby. I know you're saving your allowance for something special." She gave Haley a hug. I sat there holding the wrapping paper I had folded so neatly. That was the year I stopped trying to win. I just started surviving. When Liam proposed, I called my mom first. I don't know why. Habit, I guess, or some desperate scrap of hope that she might finally see me. She said, "Congratulations, Grace. That's wonderful." Then she asked if Haley had met anyone serious yet. I cried in my car for 20 minutes before I went back inside to Liam. The wedding planning started with so much joy. Liam wanted to get married in the fall. I wanted October. We agreed on a small venue outside Austin. A barn-turned event space with string lights and oak trees. I found my dress online. Simple, lace sleeves, not too poofy. I sent a picture to my mom, and she said it looked very nice. She asked if Haley liked it too. I stopped sending her pictures after that. My dad surprised me. He called one night from a hotel room in Oklahoma and said he had been saving. He said he wanted to give me $10,000 for the wedding. His voice cracked a little. He said, "You deserve something beautiful, Gracie. Just you, not Haley. This is for you." I cried so hard Liam thought someone had died. $10,000. It felt like winning the lottery. I started booking vendors, a caterer, a photographer, a band that played folk covers. I started dreaming about flowers, white roses, eucalyptus, simple and elegant. I told my mom about the money. That was my mistake. She listened quietly, which should have been my first warning. She said, "That's wonderful, sweetheart." Then she asked if I could come over for dinner the next Sunday. Haley would be there. She said we should all celebrate together. Sunday came. I drove to my mom's house in Plano. The same house I grew up in. The same white shutters. The same oak tree in the front yard where Haley carved her initials and I carved mine underneath because I wasn't allowed to go higher. I walked inside, and the smell was exactly the same. Cinnamon candles, coffee, something baking. My mom hugged me. Haley was sitting on the couch scrolling her phone. She looked up and smiled. She had that smile, the one that said, "I love you, but also I know I'm the favorite, and we both know it." We had dinner. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, the good china. My mom used the good china, which she only did for important things. I should have known then. After dinner, we moved to the living room. My mom poured wine. She sat down across from me and took a deep breath. I remember noticing her hands. She was twisting her wedding ring. She only did that when she was nervous. She said, "Grace, we need to talk about the wedding money." I said, "What about it?" She said, "Haley has an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She's been offered a spot on this wellness retreat in Costa Rica. It's for her business. You know, her influencer stuff. It could really launch her career, but it's expensive, and she doesn't have the funds right now." I looked at Haley. She was looking at her hands, not at me. My mom said, "We were hoping you could help her out." I said, "Help her how?" She said, "The $10,000, the wedding fund. We thought maybe you could lend it to Haley. Just for now, she'll pay it back." I said, "Lend it or give it?" My mom's face tightened. She said, "Grace, don't be difficult. You know your sister needs this. You can have a smaller wedding. It doesn't have to be a big production. Love is what matters, not the flowers or the band." I sat there. The wine glass in my hand felt cold. I could feel my heart doing something strange, like it was trying to climb out of my chest. I said that money was from Dad. He saved it for me, for my wedding, not for Haley's retreat, not for her career. Haley spoke then, her voice soft, the voice she used when she wanted something. She said, "Grace, you know I would never ask if it wasn't important. I'm struggling. My engagement is down. The algorithm hates me. This retreat could change everything. I'll pay you back every single penny. I promise." I believed her. That's the part that kills me. I believed her because she was my sister, because despite everything, I still loved her, because my whole life I was taught that her needs came first, and I had stopped questioning it. I said, "Okay." I said, "Okay," like a fool. I said, "Okay," and my mom smiled, and Haley hugged me, and I sat there wondering why it felt like I had just swallowed glass. I went home and told Liam that night. He was quiet, too quiet. He sat on the edge of our bed and stared at the wall. Finally, he said, "Grace, that was your money, from your dad, for our wedding." He didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. The disappointment in his eyes was louder than any scream. I said, "She's my sister. I couldn't say no." He said, "You could have. You should have." We had a fight, the worst fight we ever had. He slept on the couch. I didn't sleep at all. The next day, Liam apologized. He said he understood family pressure. He said we would figure it out. We would have a smaller wedding. We would save more. We would make it work. I loved him so much in that moment. I thought we were invincible. I thought that was our low point. The worst was behind us. I was wrong. 3 months passed. Haley went to Costa Rica. She posted constantly. Yoga on the beach, smoothie bowls, sunsets. Her engagement went up. She got a brand deal with some leggings company. I watched her stories from my tiny apartment, feeling something I couldn't name. It wasn't jealousy exactly. It was deeper. It was the knowledge that I had given her the knife, and she had used it without hesitation. I never saw a penny back. Every time I asked, she had an excuse. The exchange rate, the bank transfer fees. She was waiting on a payment. She would send it next month. My mom told me to be patient, told me not to ruin Haley's momentum, told me that family helps family. Liam started working overtime. He picked up extra shifts at the brewery where he worked. He started looking tired all the time, dark circles under his eyes. He stopped playing his guitars. I stopped asking about the money because I couldn't stand the look on his face, the look that said, "You chose her. You always choose her." We pushed the wedding back 6 months, then another 3. I stopped sending save the dates. I stopped looking at venues. I put my dress in the back of the closet and closed the door. One night I came home early from work. I had a headache, a migraine, the kind that makes you see spots. I wanted to take medicine and lie down in the dark. I opened the door to our apartment and I heard music. Soft, acoustic, not from Liam's phone, from the bedroom. I walked down the hallway. The door was cracked. I pushed it open. Liam was on the bed. He was shirtless. His jeans were unbuttoned. And Haley was on top of him. My sister. My twin sister. Her hair was down, the same hair as mine, the same face as mine. But she wasn't me. She was her. And she was kissing my fiancé. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I stood there, frozen, like someone had turned off my blood. Liam saw me first. His eyes went wide. He pushed Haley off. She turned, and for 1 second she looked scared. But then that look changed. It softened into something else, something almost smug. She pulled the sheet around herself and said, "Grace, I can explain." I said, "Don't." Liam was stumbling off the bed. He was saying it wasn't what it looked like, but it was exactly what it looked like. It was exactly what it looked like, and we both knew it. I looked at his face, the face I had loved for 3 years, the face I had trusted, the face that had looked at me with disappointment when I gave away our wedding money to her. Now I understood why. He wasn't disappointed in me. He was guilty. He was protecting himself. Haley didn't say anything else. She just sat there on my bed, wrapped in my sheets with my fiancé, and she smiled. She actually smiled. That same smile she had given me on the couch when she asked for the money. The one that said, "I love you, but also, I win." I walked out. I didn't pack. I didn't take my phone. I just walked out the front door and down the stairs and into the street. It was dark, October. The air was cold. I was wearing my work clothes, a blazer and slacks and flats. I walked for hours. I didn't know where I was going. I ended up at a 24-hour diner, the kind with cracked vinyl booths and coffee that tastes like cigarettes. I sat in a booth and a waitress named Carol asked if I wanted anything. I said just water. She brought me coffee anyway. She must have seen something in my face. I stayed there until sunrise. Carol didn't ask questions. She just refilled my coffee and left me alone. Around 6 a.m., I used the diner's phone to call my dad. He answered on the second ring. I said, "Dad, I need you." He said, "Where are you?" I told him. He said, "Stay there. I'm coming." He drove 4 hours from Oklahoma. He walked into that diner in his boots and his work jacket, and he didn't say a word. He just sat down across from me and took my hands. His hands were rough, calloused, real. He said, "What happened?" And I told him. Everything. The money, Liam, Haley, the smile. I told him everything, and he listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "You're coming home with me. Not to your mother's house. To my place. The apartment I keep near the job site. It's not much, but it's clean, and you'll be safe." I said, "Okay." I stayed with my dad for 2 weeks. He went to work during the day. I slept on his couch and watched bad daytime TV and tried to figure out who I was. I didn't cry. That was the strange part. I thought I would cry, but my eyes stayed dry, like my body was saving it for later, like it knew the real pain hadn't started yet. My mom called, several times. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. "Grace, please call me. Grace, your sister is very upset. Grace, you're overreacting." I deleted every single one without listening to the end. Haley didn't call. She texted once, a long paragraph about how she was sorry, but also I had been distant and Liam had been lonely, and it's complicated, and she never meant to hurt me. I read it 3 times, then I blocked her number. Liam called more, dozens of times. Then the messages started. Long, rambling voicemails about how he loved me, how it was a mistake, how Haley came on to him and he was weak, and he would do anything to fix it. He said, "Please, Grace, please. I'll sell my guitars, I'll get a second job, I'll pay back the money myself." I listened to one of them, just one. His voice sounded broken, but I remembered his face in that moment, the way he looked at me when I caught them, the lack of shock, the lack of horror. He wasn't sorry he did it. He was sorry he got caught. I didn't go back to Austin. I called my boss and told her I needed a leave of absence. I told her it was a family emergency. She said, "Take all the time you need." I loved that woman for that, for not asking questions. On the 10th day with my dad, I finally cried. It was 3 in the morning. I was lying on his couch, staring at the ceiling, and something broke inside me. Not gently, not slowly. It shattered. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. I cried for the wedding I would never have, for the $10,000 I would never see again, for the 3 years I wasted on a man who was sleeping with my sister behind my back, for my whole life of being second, of being less than, of being invisible. My dad came out of his bedroom. He sat on the floor next to the couch and he held my hand. He didn't say it's okay. He didn't say you'll get through this. He just held my hand and waited. After a while, I stopped crying. He said, "You know what your mother did." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm sorry I wasn't there more. I should have protected you." I said, "You did what you could." He shook his head. He said, "That's not good enough, and I know that. But I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere." I believed him. I went back to Austin one time, just to get my things. I called Liam and told him I was coming. I said, "I don't want to see you. Leave the key under the mat." He said he wanted to talk. I said, "There's nothing to say." He said, "Grace, please." I hung up. I drove to the apartment on a Tuesday afternoon. I knew Liam would be at work. I let myself in. The place smelled different, like perfume. Haley's perfume, the one she always wore. Sweet, floral. It made my stomach turn. I walked through the living room. His guitars were still on the wall. My plants were dead. Every single one. Brown and wilted. He hadn't watered them. He hadn't even tried. I went to the bedroom. The sheets were changed. Fresh. White. I wondered if they had slept in those sheets too. I stopped wondering because I didn't want to throw up. I grabbed my clothes, my jewelry, my books. I opened the closet and there was my wedding dress, still in its bag. I touched the lace. For a moment I thought about taking it, but I didn't. I left it there, a ghost of something that never happened. As I was leaving, I noticed the kitchen counter. There was a stack of mail, envelopes addressed to Liam and me. Junk, mostly. But underneath, there was a pink envelope. Handwritten. Haley's handwriting. I recognized it from every birthday card, every thank you note, every Christmas gift tag. I opened it, against my better judgment. I opened it, and I read it. The letter said, "Dear Liam, I know this is messy, but I can't stop thinking about you. I've wanted you since the first time Grace brought you home. You chose the wrong sister, but it's not too late to fix that. I love you, and I think you love me too. Let's stop pretending. Let's just be together. Grace will get over it. She always does. She always does." Those 3 words hit harder than anything else. She always does. Because it was true. My whole life I got over it. I got over the bedroom, the car, the tuition, the locket, the wedding money. I got over it all. And Haley knew it. She counted on it. She built her life on the foundation of my forgiveness. I put the letter in my pocket. I walked out of that apartment, and I never looked back. It's been 8 months now. I live in a small town outside San Antonio. I switched to remote work. I have a little house with a yard. I planted new plants, succulents mostly, things that are hard to kill. I adopted a dog, a mutt from the shelter. I named him George. He sleeps at the foot of my bed, and he doesn't betray me. My mom still tries to reach out. She sent a letter last month. She said life is too short to hold grudges. She said Haley and Liam are engaged now, and she hopes I can find it in my heart to be happy for them. She said family is everything. I burned that letter in my backyard fire pit. George watched me. He didn't bark. He just wagged his tail. I haven't spoken to my dad in a few weeks. Not because we're fighting, because he's busy with work, and I'm busy with life. But we text. He sends me pictures of sunsets from his hotel rooms. I send him pictures of George. He's coming for Thanksgiving. Just him. Just us. My mom invited us both to her house, but he said no. He said he's done pretending to. I still have nightmares sometimes. I wake up reaching for Liam, or I hear Haley's laugh, or I see that smile, the one that said, I win. In the dreams, I never scream. I just stand there frozen. And then I wake up, and George is there, and the sun comes up, and I remember that I am still here, still breathing.
Still standing. I don't know if I'll ever get married. I don't know if I'll ever trust anyone again. Some days I feel like I'm healing. Other days I feel like a scar that keeps reopening. But I do know one thing. I will never give away my future to someone who wouldn't do the same for me. Not for Haley, not for Liam, not for anyone. The last I heard, Haley's engagement is falling. Her influencer stuff is tanking. People are starting to notice her content feels fake. Liam lost his job at the brewery. Something about showing up late too many times. My mom is stressed. She calls my dad crying. He doesn't answer. I should feel bad. Maybe a better person would feel bad. But I don't. I feel nothing. And that nothing is the most honest thing I have ever felt. I planted a garden last spring. Tomatoes and basil and mint. I cook with them. I make pasta sauce from scratch. I eat it on my tiny patio while George sleeps in the sun. It's not the life I planned. It's not the wedding with the string lights and the white roses and the folk band, but it's mine, and no one can take it from me. Except sometimes, late at night, I still think about that locket, the one I bought my mom when I was 14. I wonder if she still has it. I wonder if she ever wears it. I wonder if she knows that I saw her set it aside. I wonder if she knows that I remember. I think she does. I think she knows everything. I think she knew that night in the living room when she asked me to give away my wedding money. I think she knew what Haley was doing with Liam. Maybe not the details, but she knew something. She knew her favorite daughter was circling my life like a shark, and she didn't stop her. She never stopped her. That's the part I can't forgive. Not the betrayal, not the money, not even the smile. It's that my mother watched my whole life and never once said stop. She never said, Haley, you have enough. She never said, Grace, you matter too. She just kept pouring wine and setting out the good china and asking me to be reasonable. Being reasonable nearly destroyed me. So now I'm unreasonable. I don't answer calls. I don't go to family holidays. I don't send birthday cards. I live in my little house with my dog and my plants and my silence. And it feels like freedom. It feels like a door finally closed. I don't know if I'll ever speak to Haley again. I don't know if I'll ever speak to my mom. Part of me wants to. Part of me wants to scream at them. Part of me wants to show up at their door and ask how they sleep at night. But I won't, because that would mean giving them more of my energy. And I have given them enough. I have given them my whole childhood, my wedding, my trust, my future. I have nothing left to give, so I give nothing. And for the first time in my life, that feels like enough. Last week, I went to a coffee shop, a small place near my house. I ordered a black coffee, no sugar. I sat at a table by the window. A man asked if he could sit across from me. He said every other seat was taken. He had kind eyes. He was wearing a flannel. For a moment, my heart stopped. For a moment, I saw Liam. But then the man smiled, and it was different. It was real. I said yes. He sat down. He didn't ask my name. I didn't ask his. We just drank our coffee in silence. And for 10 minutes, I forgot about everything. He left first. He said,
Maybe I'll see you around. I said maybe. He smiled again, and then he was gone. I don't know if that was a beginning. I don't know if it was nothing. But I sat there for a long time after he left, just staring at the empty chair across from me. And I thought about how strange life is, how you can lose everything and still find yourself in a coffee shop on a Tuesday morning with a warm cup in your hands. George was waiting for me when I got home, tail wagging, tongue out. No questions, no conditions, just love. I think that's what I'm learning, that love shouldn't hurt, that love shouldn't make you small, that love shouldn't ask you to give away your wedding money or your dignity or your self-respect. Love should look at you and see you, really see you, not as second place, not as the ghost, but as the person you are. I haven't found that love yet. Maybe I never will. But I stopped looking for it in the wrong places. I stopped looking for it in my mother's approval, or my sister's kindness, or a man who played guitar and promised forever. I started looking for it in myself.
And that is the hardest thing I have ever done. Harder than walking out that door, harder than burning that letter, harder than watching my whole wedding plan go up in smoke. It is harder to look in the mirror and say you are enough when no one ever told you that. But I'm learning. Every day I'm learning. And maybe that's the real story. Not the betrayal, not the cheating, not the money, but the learning. The slow, painful, beautiful process of building yourself back up when everyone you loved tried to tear you down. I don't know if I'll ever be fully okay, but I'm more okay than I was 8 months ago, and I'll be more okay 8 months from now. And eventually, okay might turn into good, and good might turn into great, and great might turn into something I can't even imagine yet. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just stay here, with my dog and my plants and my quiet life. And that wouldn't be so bad either, because at least it's mine. At least I chose it, and no one can take that away.